morning, Nigeria, and welcome to a brand new sunrise on Daybreak Live, your daily window into stories shaping our nation and the world. This is Dominion Television, where every morning begins with clarity, context, and conversation. And I'm Manolo Apoido. It's great to be here alongside Samson this morning as we guide you through the headlines, the debate, the perspectives that matter. Whether you're tuned in from home, on the move, or already at work, we're here to start it with you. Yeah, and here's what we have for you, lined up for you this morning. On Daybreak Gist, we turn to our spotlight to the nation's capital as the FCTA workers defy the NLC and JUAC, returning to their duty post. A development stirring fresh conversations about labor unity, workers' welfare, and the future of organized protest in Nigeria. Protest again. Anyway, we'll also bring you a weather update followed by Daybreak News, a crisp roundup of the biggest stories making waves across Nigeria and beyond. Then it is time for our newspaper headlines and analysis, where we can scan the front pages and unpack the headlines driving today's national conversations. And for today's big story, 2027 power play, Peter Obi's presidential bid and the looming crisis within the ADC. We examine Obi's firm rejection of a vice presidential role, his renewed presidential ambition, and what it could mean for coalition parties, party stability, and internal party dynamics as the road to 2027 begins to heat up. Well, joining us for this conversation is Honorable Molaja Olaoye, APC chieftain, social commentator, and public affairs analyst, bringing insight and perspective on what this political moment means for Nigeria's democratic journey. And helping us break down the newspaper's headlines today is Afolabi Afolabi, who will help walk us through the stories shaping public opinion this morning. And we'll round things off with Trend Watch, your pulse on what's buzzing online, on the streets and across the airwaves. Absolutely. So this is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's get started. Getting started already. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Samson, this morning. Really nice to be back here. I mean, for all is worth, yes. Well, the morning might seem chilly, but the headlines are not that chilled this morning. And people will ask a lot of questions about what's going on, especially within the labor. We've had the party, as a political party, has had its fair share of crisis, and definitely we see how that has actually unfolded. And also we are seeing what is going on between the labor unions, the TUC, the NLC, JUAC, and so many other people. And the FCTA workers are saying, look, whatever it is you want to do, you can do that on your own. We are going back to work. And the landlord of the FCT also said some things recently and said, look, if you are caught, we will make you a scapegoat. So the question is, was the truth the reason why FCTA workers are going back to work? Or for some reason, they have reached a compromise, or there is a level of understanding between the FCT and the workers? It's a very big question. Were they threatened or bullied or coerced into going back to work? Because obviously the statement by the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, actually had a lot to do with what is going on. But then, eventually, was it the truth? Or it was just about, okay, well, I think we have reached a compromise, let's go back to work? I mean, I wasn't seeing it from that angle. But it's a very dicey one, you know, and I'm not sure any other person that's outside of that scale will be able to say emphatically that this is a case of, you know, coercion or bullying or appeal. But from the body language of both parties, you can tell that there is politics in all of this. And it's very important to note also that this is not really about salary, you know. It's about labor power and the sense of distrust in government. When we see this again and again, it tells just one story. The narrative that this has been the case in Nigeria. And why has it been the case? Because they feel this is like the only way to get their voices heard. I mean, the NLC and the GUC and the labor. And so they see like, okay, from if you judge from hindsight, you can tell that this has been the narrative because it has always worked more than sitting quiet. So if you ask people why should they jump into industrial action, they will tell you that's the only language the government understands. Until they start making a point, there seems to be
calm everywhere. Nobody is talking about their problems and some of the things they are putting on the table, their demands. But once they make a sound, then everybody gets to say, oh yeah, so let's see. Let's do this, let's have conversations and all of that. But, you know, I think this is basically not so much about salary, but it's about labor power and principle. They've begged to question it again and again that even if partial payments have been made, according to Larry Olayinka, the senior special assistant to the to the leader of the FCT in terms of the minister of the FCT, some Wike, who came about to say, yes, there were about 5 different maybe wage awards that they wanted to, so they've done 2, it's remaining just 3, and they intend to extend it over February, March, and so as to pay them. But these guys are saying that it is not really about whether or not you're paying us right now. It is about the fact that we already have a distrust in this system. We know that once we finish this conversation and you've done 2, and if we go to bed, it's still going to happen again. The next week, next month, we're still going to keep having this conversation. You know, so it's been that. So historically, they have a point to say we are standing on this. But you know, I'll still get back to why. Maybe some of them, because it's not every one of them, according to information, that wants to, you know, just stand down the protest. A good number of them still want to, let's do this, we can do it, because if we don't do it, these people are just bamboozling us and all that. But you know, the NLC and TUC framing this also as a fight for dignity, fairness, and process mirrors past struggles. You know, it tells more about where concessions only came after sustained pressure, like I've always been saying too. And the inference is that the rally is also signaling that Labour does not want wage agreements to become politicized. That's exactly one of their claims. And again, the partial compliance has never really ended labour disputes in Nigeria. To say that we have done 2, we will do the rest. It has never, from history. So these people are judging from some of the things they've seen, that if you give those people the opportunity to say we are cancelling, or we are stopping, or we are halting the strike action, the industrial action because of a partial agreement, it will still not amount to complete agreement, because whatever they promise them, they will still try not to do everything until they stand up again and say, oh yeah, we are standing again, and then they now say, okay, so because check, for example, the ASU federal government strike, it's always the same narrative. Think about the minimum wage implementation 2019 to 2024. It's still the same narrative. The labour's fear has always been that once pressure drops, outstanding agreements begin to, you know, go under the drain. I mean, it goes down the drain. Nobody gets to talk about it. And so, exactly. So the unions are reacting to long Nigerian pattern, you know, of policy policy promise without fulfillment. So that's exactly one of the claims of these people, and you might not blame them, because also, let's also talk about what the rally exposes, you know, as a deeper center labor power struggle in Abuja. And this is why Abuja is symbolic for many reasons. If they speak up in Abuja, then the whole world will hear, because that's very close to, even to the heart of the government in power, the APC, President Tinubu.
That's the heart of the government.
Exactly. And again, I think it's, in a sense, some would say it's politicizing, because of the fact that Nyesom Wike has been faced with different challenges from across board, especially, maybe not challenges, but he's been, you know, delving into some other things that are not particularly his office. So some are saying, okay, let's have this too, let's have fire on your bosom too. If you've been giving fire to some people, even in a place that has water, in a river area, you are giving fire to them. Let's give you fire in Abuja. Let's see how much of that you can take. So that maybe that's the angle that Nyesom Wike is also seeing this from, that it has been politicized. They said maybe even if the strike or the intended strike has started normally, there was still there's an inference or interference of politics inside of it. So they are saying these people just want to politicize. It's not as if they need so much.
Well, there are several things, you know, that surrounds all of this. I think yesterday the headline that actually caught my attention was that of independent newspaper that said, again, FCTA workers defy NLC. Ignore protest call, return to duty. That was our independent newspaper yesterday. But then before that, January 29th, there was a report by The Guardian and says, court suspends FCTA workers strike as Wike okays 12 billion naira for salaries. Okay, so there was, before this strike, a lot had been going on. Probably, Nyesom also mentioned some things that if you spend every penny on salaries, on arrears, on the wage awards, there will be nothing for projects. And people are saying, look, you have to cater for the welfare of the workers first. Once that is done, you can now focus on projects. So the question is, which one comes first? And also, most workers under the FCTA, the territory in Abuja, Before yesterday, they have resumed to work across various offices in Abuja, including the Minister's Block, the Treasury Department, FCDA, AGIS, and others, despite calls for protest by the unions. And there was a court order that put an end to all this by the industrial courts.
Yes.
The National Industrial Court in Abuja ordered FCTA workers to suspend their strike and return to work pending further hearing of a case filed by the FCTA minister in Nyesom Wike. So, whatever it is, when the case is in court, and there's a judgment, especially that favors one party, the other party has to wait until there's a counter judgment before you can now take action. And I think we have to talk about the excesses of the labor unions in Nigeria. Most of the times, it is not really about the people anymore. It's about making a statement. Yes, we are still here. Okay, we want you to know that there is NLC, there's 2UC. It's a fight for relevance. But at the end of the day, how much of a profit does the people get from all of this? I want to cite an instance. Okay, most of the times you see government workers going on strike. Okay, we say, we want to go on strike. And eventually, you ask the Trade Union Congress to also join you. Of what purpose is the Trade Union Congress joining an industrial action that actually has to do with government workers, especially people who belong under NLC? So it's a very big question. Some of the times you will now ask yourself, okay, what exactly is the goal? Where are we heading to? What do we plan to achieve with all of this? Because you will eventually sit with the government. Maybe a few of them, about 0.2% of members of the association, will sit with the government, and then they will come back with a resolution and say, for this reason, we are going back to work. Okay, so have you eventually gotten what you intended to get from all of this before you actually asked everyone to go on strike? So sometimes I think bodies like this, especially FCT workers, defying the NLC, saying, look, eventually we think you are not fighting for us anymore. Let's go back to work. This person has made an arrangement, has actually promised that, there's 12 billion naira to be shared. To sort all of this. So let's always look at what we stand to gain in all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are going on strike, you have an enemy, you are fighting that person. Does that mean I shouldn't talk to that person? No, but you are my friend. Okay, so we should not inherit enemies in the name of trying to prove a point. It's no longer about proving a point, it's about achieving the common goal.
Yeah, common goal. I think that makes sense. But let me speak briefly to one of the things you said about the industrial courts bringing out, a claim to say, oh yes, you guys should get back to work. But the unions have over time seen the struggle, as legitimate, even when there is a court order, and when they see that they are legally or legally constrained, they still move on because they do not even trust the judicial processes to say there could have been an interference, political interference and all of that. But, let me also speak to the issue of a divide or a gulf of communication or gulf in communication between the government and then the workers. So the narrative for the government would be, oh yes, they've gone back to work. Oh yes, we've paid arrears. Oh yes, we've paid this, we've paid. But that does not really, augur well with the labor. And that's exactly the case. So for them, a labor narrative would be that there's intimidation, there's lack of trust, all of these things in it. And then the communication gap has fueled past crisis, like I've also said to, if you so now to check when trust is low, we can always tell that even good news is interpreted as tactical and political.
Absolutely.
So when they say they have done a bit of that, there's always the question of, this is political, because you want to make it, so the narrative of the government does not align with the narrative of the workers. So when they tackle these kind of issues, they don't tackle it from the root problem. They just say, we've done, and then they put out the narrative so that people can know there's no unrest anywhere. There's no public unrest, there's no public violation and all that. And I also want to speak briefly to that police order when police said they should not. But so the warning also adds a familiar voice. The voice of NSAS, the voice of democratic stress points in the country, Nigeria, police urging them to stop and shelve their protest. And I think we should also know, maybe the police should know too, that protest is just a democratic right of every civilian. It's not criminal. There's nobody that is going to. Well, some people want to disrupt the nation and disrupt economic activities, but that's not really the point. The point is that peaceful protest is constitutional. but routinely framed as a security threat by the government. They try to do that again and again, and I keep saying that we should have a system where some things are okay. We can okay some of these things. Protest is not so. It's not, nobody is killing anybody. It's just a way of expressing your grievance, expressing your dissatisfaction about an issue, and it should not be taken as a criminal offense. But let me round off on this note. I'm saying this is not simply a wage fight, a wage dispute. It's also a test of trust, of power and future of collective bargaining in Nigeria. So history shows now that that when labor feels pressured into silence, the dispute does not end.
It doesn't.
It only pauses. So the pause is what we don't want this time around. If there's going to be an agreement, let it be done. Agreements can be implemented, for crying out loud. Why is it taking forever? And many times it doesn't even come to pass, because 2009 agreement of the ASU and the federal government is just being debated in 2026. That's a long period of time. It has overstayed its welcome, in fact. So I think
that's about 17 years difference.
So come on, what are we saying?
You see, the challenge is way beyond this conversation. When the labor unions feel they cannot trust the government, and when the government feels the labor union is doing too much, then it begs the question of who exactly should come down from the high horse and have a conversation. Oftentimes, even the people will say, the best thing to do is to dialogue. And the only legal means of requesting for what you can get from the government is for you to go on industrial action. That's the only way, the only hard way, let me put it that way, because you keep asking questions and nobody is responding. But then if you go on industrial action, it calls the attention of everyone, every stakeholder. Okay, let's come back to the drawing board. Let's sit down on the same table and have a conversation. But oftentimes when the agreement is reached, we eventually transmit that to the president. And once that is transmitted, does the president have, does he have the will to get it done? It's another question. We have seen agreements from one administration to the other. Everyone just keeps pushing it aside and nobody's talking about anything. But then, does it mean that the pressure groups, once agreements are reached, does it mean that the pressure groups also go to bed? I wrote an article on that. Something I said about a particular community and said the place where orderliness goes to sleep just like normal human beings. When things that really matter goes to bed just because some people are not talking anymore, then it's a very big question. But eventually, we do hope that this is sorted by the FCT, and in Yesom Wike, the Minister of the FCT, gets some of these things sorted, and we don't have to come back here tomorrow and still have the same conversation. We can easily focus on something else. But then, we can take weather report on this show this morning. Let's start with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. What the weather looks like in Ibadan today. Let's help you plan your day. And in Ibadan, as we speak, weather currently feels like 28 degrees Celsius right here. And later in the morning, it will be mostly cloudy and rise just by a degree to 29 degrees Celsius at 4%. There will be scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon at 33 degrees Celsius, 49%. It will be mostly cloudy in the evening, 27 degrees Celsius at 15%, while it will be cloudy overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, 8% right here in Ibadan today.
And before you go to Enugu today, let's go straight to Lagos State. From Ibadan now to Lagos. What's the weather like in Lagos today? Maybe a few, yes, just a difference of about 3 degrees Celsius across board, because the weather feels like 31 degrees Celsius in Lagos State today. And then later in the morning, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius. Expected to be partly cloudy at 13% relative humidity in Lagos State today. And in the afternoon, it rises by 1 degree Celsius up to 30 degrees Celsius, and the weather becomes cloudy by then. And in the evening, it drops by 2 degrees Celsius. It's dropping really to 28 degrees Celsius, and it's expected to be mostly cloudy as well at 9% relative humidity. And overnight, it drops once more to 27 degrees Celsius, also expected to be mostly cloudy today.
All right, moving on. Let's take this one from Enugu. Enugu State this morning. Weather in Enugu currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius right there. Later in the morning, it will rise by 6 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius while being partly cloudy at 2%. It will remain partly cloudy in the afternoon at 36 degrees Celsius, 0% right there in Enugu. And while it will be mostly cloudy in the evening and overnight at 28 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius respectively, while maintaining 7% in the evening and overnight right there in Enugu today.
I'll retain my geographical location to southwest, and that's at Doikiti today. Ekiti State, the weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius across board. Then it rises by 5 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius. Expected to be partly cloudy at 1% average today. And later in the afternoon, it rises by 4 or 5 degrees Celsius to 33 degrees Celsius with the promise of scattered thunderstorms across Ado-Ekiti today. And in the evening, it drops to 25 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy. It remains mostly cloudy overnight at 23 degrees Celsius today in Ado-Ekiti today.
All right, we still remain in the south, and that is Calabar in Cross River this morning. Weather in Calabar currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius right there. Later in the morning, it will be mostly cloudy at 30 degrees Celsius, 12%. It will remain mostly cloudy in the afternoon and evening, 32 degrees Celsius, 26 degrees Celsius right there in the afternoon and evening, and it will be cloudy overnight at 25 degrees Celsius, 24% right there in Calabar today.
The weather feels the same in Suleja, Niger State today. From Calabar to Niger State, it's almost the same. The largest states in the country, the weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius. And then in the morning, it rises by 6 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Expected to be mostly sunny in that part of the country. And then it rises by 7 degrees Celsius in the afternoon to 37 degrees Celsius. Also expected to be partly cloudy. And it drops in the evening to 29 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy as well. Then overnight, it becomes clear at 25 degrees Celsius in Niger State today.
All right, moving on to Port Harcourt, River State this morning. Weather in Port Harcourt currently feels like 22 degrees Celsius right there. Later in the morning, it will rise to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy at 10%. There will be scattered thunderstorms in Port Harcourt, 29 degrees Celsius at 50%. That's massive this morning. And it will be mostly cloudy in the evening, 23 degrees Celsius at 11%. It will remain mostly cloudy overnight, 22 degrees Celsius, 12% right there in Port Harcourt, River State.
And Plateau State is of concern. I mean, when you talk about weather, a lot of people are always raising the brows to say what's happening in Jos, in Plateau State. So there, of course, the weather feels like 18 degrees Celsius across board. And then in the morning, it rises to 27 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. Then in the afternoon, it rises much further to 31 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly sunny. And in the evening, it drops by 10 whooping degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius, and the weather becomes clear at that. I mean, this is just a variation that is very, very intense and drastic. Now, overnight, it drops also to 18 degrees Celsius, and the weather becomes partly cloudy in Plateau State today.
All right, moving on to Sokoto and Sokoto North. Weather currently feels like 21 degrees Celsius right there in Sokoto this morning. Later in the morning, it rises to 28 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy at 0%. It will be partly cloudy in the afternoon at 37 degrees Celsius, a sharp rise to 37 degrees Celsius at 0%. It will be mostly cloudy in the evening and overnight at 28 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius, while maintaining 0% respectively in Sokoto today.
Maiduguri in Borno State is just 3 degrees Celsius lower to what you have in Sokoto today, because the weather feels like 18 degrees Celsius across board. And then it rises to become sunny in the morning to 30 degrees Celsius, and it rises much further to 37 degrees Celsius, expected to be very sunny as well in the afternoon. Then evening, it drops by about 10 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius, expected to be clear in the evening, and it drops by 6 degrees Celsius overnight to 20 degrees Celsius, also expected to be mostly clear in Maiduguri, Borno State today.
All right, taking this one from Kano before we round off our weather reports this morning. Weather in Kano, in the Kano municipal, currently feels like 16 degrees Celsius right there. It will rise sharply to 27 degrees Celsius while being sunny at 0% later in the morning. It will also rise to 35 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, partly cloudy at 0%, while it will be partly cloudy in the evening, 25 degrees Celsius, a drastic drop by 10 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius at 0% right there in the evening, while in the overnight, it will be mostly cloudy, 20 degrees Celsius, 0% in Kano Municipal today. All right, I think that will be all we can take on weather report this morning. Do well to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X for Miley Tudor. our Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. You can also do well to leave us comments, follow, like and subscribe Facebook and YouTube channels at Dominion Broadcast. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we return, it is time to take the news. We'll be back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluwapo Ido. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed all ministries, departments and agencies to rely on existing electricity sector laws to clearly and transparently outline how power subsidy costs will be shared among the federal, state and local governments in the 2026 budget. The directive was disclosed by the Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Dr. Tanimu Yakubu, during a keynote address at the training program for MDAs on the 2026 post-budget process in Abuja. Dr. Yakubu said the fair distribution of subsidy responsibilities would promote improved performance in the power sector and strengthen support for protecting vulnerable electricity consumers. He also cautioned against the inclusion of projects that are not fully prepared or properly financed, noting that such practices lead to unfulfilled expectations. Similarly, Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has assured residents that his administration is stepping up efforts to ensure a more regular and reliable electricity supply across the state. The governor spoke while interacting with journalists during activities marking the 50th anniversary of Ondo State. Ayedatiwa said the state is taking advantage of the federal government transfer of electricity regulatory powers to some states, including Ondo, to improve power supply. He explained that the move allows the state to independently regulate electricity distribution, issue license to private investors, and support the development of mini-grids and power plants. According to the governor, the administration is focusing on strengthening regulation, improving distribution, and working closely with existing power distribution companies to enhance electricity supply for residents. 9 suspects accused of involvement in the deadly Yoruba attack in Benue State have pleaded not guilty to a 57-count amended charge bordering on terrorism before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The suspects were arraigned before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik. The Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, who appeared for the prosecution, informed the court that the charges against the 6th defendant, Yakubu Maman, had been withdrawn. He said the amended charge dated January 19th and filed January 20th, 2026 followed what he described as a painstaking investigation and collaboration among government agencies. The defendant pleaded not guilty to all the charges. The Attorney General also applied for an accelerated hearing, saying the pleas had invoked the court's jurisdiction for trial under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. And moving on to labor protests, where the Federal Capital Territory Police Command has advised the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and Trade Union Congress (TUC) to reschedule their planned protest scheduled for today, February 3rd, 2026, citing security concerns. The advice comes after the labor unions announced plans to stage a peaceful solidarity rally in Abuja. And in a joint statement issued by the NLC spokesperson, Benson Upar, the TUC Secretary N.A. Toro, the union said the rally would take place at the Federal Capital Development Authority as a show of solidarity with affected workers. The NLC and TUC directed all their affiliates and state councils within the Federal Capital Territory to ensure effective mobilization of members ahead of the rally. They also stressed that full participation was expected, noting that the action would be lawful and peaceful. Moving on, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority (NMDPRA) has warned the public against fake recruitment reports circulating online, describing them as the handiwork of fraudsters seeking to exploit job seekers. The authority said no recruitment exercise is currently ongoing at any level. In a statement posted on its official X handle, NMDPRA said it issued the clarification after observing that unscrupulous individuals were taking advantage of economically vulnerable citizens by advertising false employment opportunities. It stressed that any further recruitment and future recruitment would strictly follow established rules guiding employment in the Nigerian public service. The authority urged Nigerians to disregard all fake recruitment advertisements and verify information only through its official website and verified social media platforms. And now in Oyo State. Oyo State government has sealed several residential and commercial premises in parts of Ibadan for violating environmental regulations, including the use of illegal waste collectors and failure to register with approved private sector participant waste operators. The enforcement exercise carried out by the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources covered areas such as Bodija, Songo, Eleyele, and Ologweru. Speaking during the inspection tour, the Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Ademola Aderito, said the action followed the directive by Governor Seyi Makinde to ensure a clean, healthy, and business-friendly environment across the state. Aderito warned that the state government would no longer tolerate illegal waste collection activities and urged residents and facility managers to comply with waste management regulations. Meanwhile, the wife of the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Tamunomini Makinde, has assured and urged students to take their education seriously, describing them as the future of the state. She spoke during the Oyo at 50 celebration at the House of Chiefs Secretariat in Agodi, Ibadan, while presenting stationery to students. The First Lady said education is the most valuable legacy parents and government can give children, adding that educated students are better positioned to uplift their families, communities, and the state. She encouraged students to make effective use of the materials provided, remain committed to their studies, and continue developing their intellectual capacity. Highlight of the event included prizes for students who excelled in the spelling bee and dancing competitions, alongside a distribution of stationery materials. And now in business, a total of 1,969 billion naira, being the December 2025 Federation account revenue, has been shared among the federal government, states, and local government councils. This was disclosed in a communique issued after the January meeting of the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) and released by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The communique explained that the distributable revenue comprised statutory revenue of 1.084 trillion naira, value-added tax amounting to 846.5 billion naira, and 38.1 billion naira from the electronic money transfer levy. From the total amount, the federal government received 653.5 billion naira, state got 706.4 billion naira, while local government councils received 513.2 billion naira. An additional 96.1 billion naira, representing 13% derivation revenue, was shared among all producing states. And in sports, Aniete Uko has left Nigerian National League NNL side Aqua United. Is reported to be nearing a move abroad. Uko announced his departure in a farewell message on the club's social media. The experienced midfielder expressed his desire to see the Promise Keepers secure promotion to the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) next season. Aqua United currently top the NNL Conference B table with 19 points from 9 matches. They will be up against Rovers FC in their opening fixture of the second stanza later this month. And that's about it. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Dominion Broadcast, and X at Dominion Cast. And that's Daybreak News. I am Anu Oluwapo Ido. Thank you for watching. There seems to be a sharing formula for federal government, state government, and local government. Of course, that's one of the stories making the rounds across the newspapers this morning. And we are this morning going to check into some of the stories that are making the rounds across the nation. Of course, welcome to this very exciting segment of the program, Newspaper Headlines and Analysis, where we check into the briefs of the print. And what do we have on the briefs this morning? So many stories to go around. Of course, I have the Nation newspaper, as much as I can lay my fingers on. This morning I have Vanguard and every other newspaper this morning, but I won't do this alone this morning. I'm joined with Afolabi joining us for the analysis this morning. Good morning to you and welcome to this.
Good to be here again.
I mean, it's such a good time to talk about Nigeria. Perhaps we should start with the sharing formula between the federal government. So let's get into that story, particularly on the Nation newspaper. The big caption says, federal government to share costs with states and councils. That's exactly the story and the conversation right there. Something very important. Of course, also on that, you see electricity subsidy payment as well. Let's take a few stories before we get into the analysis proper. On the Nation newspaper, Wike camp fixes PDP convention for March 28. What's happening? We'll get into all of those conversations today. Uzodinma Buni Akonde, 70 others in the APC convention panel. That's also another story circulating across the nation. Malami lists income sources to prevent asset forfeiture. And Diezani boards for 140,000 euros furniture in one day. That's another shocking one. What do you want to do with 140 pounds, 140,000 pounds furniture in one day? What do you want to do with all of those? But yeah, maybe she has a point to make. But of course, we see all of this. Now, FAC is saying federal government, states, and local government authorities are sharing 1.96 trillion naira in December. Of course, they shared that. That's exactly how it increased. Of course, VAT increased by about 350 billion naira. That's another thing to talk about, talking business, commerce, and economics today. And of course, history impact as Governor Buni inaugurates world-class scientific research training center in Yobe. Fetis Yobe Teen Eagle competition winners. That's also the big caption right there on the Nation newspaper. The Punch newspaper is another print I would like to bring to the fore this morning. And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, it says big money, small impact. Governors face fire over 9 trillion naira FAC allocation. Of course, windfall. That's federal allocation windfall. That's exactly about that story. But this is the way Punch has taken the story, that big money and small impact. Is that true? We'll get to see with Afolabi shortly. Now, federal government moves to share electricity subsidy costs with states as well. That's the face of Adebayo Adelabu on the top corner of the Punch newspaper. Something to also, spice our conversation, maybe spike the interest of many Nigerians. Of course, we need power. Anyway, APC unveils 73-member National Convention Committee. Also something to look out for. Meanwhile, PDP crisis still goes on. Wike block plans convention after court victory. That's exactly another one. We'll see many of this, and we'll also check out what becomes of all. Electoral Act Senate resumes debate today after backlash. So now let's get into the proper conversation with Afolabi this morning. Now, federal government allocation, some have said is big money and small impact. What do you make of this? I want to get your comprehensive thoughts on what you make of this allocation, 1.96 trillion naira shared in December.
I love that headline with Punch, and that's exactly what is going on. We look at many of the states with so much gigantic allocations, but small impacts. Small impact when you look at their local government. Small impact when you look at the faces of the people. Small impact when you look at what has exactly been put up to the benefit of the people. But you see those monies going down to the pocket of the politicians. They put up some relevant projects that may not be completed within 7-8 years. And some of them put up some window dressing to let you look as if everything is fine. Look at this, the state capital is looking beautiful, but the entire rural area is looking shambles. I don't see why some states will be putting up a cargo airline, an airline where they don't have any infrastructure for it. We have seen that example in Ekiti, where the roads are nowhere to be found. Just how many local governments? 16. And you cannot count you cannot even give credit to 10 local governments that you can say, okay, this road are fine. And the state government is looking about an airline and a cargo. Even before you get to the airline, there's nothing to go about. Now you talk about some areas where the health facility is down. Right now in Oyo, I'm only praying that the Lord will save us. Now that UCH is on strike, have you been to our local other hospitals? They are jam-packed. My brother, the best of the best is how you are looking at now. If you fall sick, your next prayer is to God to save you.
So, Mr. Flabe, sorry, if I may, let's put this into the context now. Can we say the Federal Allocation Committee is wrong to have disbursed more money into states and local governments, or who should we now put the blame on?
The blame is on the government, on the governors. Those who are getting the money are not implementing it. Of course, their duty is to disburse money. Will you ask them to withhold it? The one that was held in Osun State, the local government in Osun State, don't you see the way the governor is coming up every day and night to tell you that because of the money that they've withheld, he will not be able to do this. He's not able. If you release that money, will he do it?
But sorry, let me take it from this angle too. For I remember when we did projects way back in school, the university taught us that for every project you do, there's something that should be at the end of it, M&E, that's monitoring and evaluation. So if you allocate money, so for example, if I give you money, I'm expecting you to fix my furniture, for example, and you fix it, I'm going to check my furniture.
Sure.
Even after some weeks, I'll still check it again.
Sure.
After some months, I'll check it again.
Sure.
So as to know if you've done the right job. So
If
what
I'm giving
about
value for money?
Exactly. So what about the federal government monitoring and evaluation committee sitting on these governments?
When they are on the same party, when the man coming will be lodged in one big hotel, when as soon as he comes down, they want to take him around the states, and before you could want to say Jack Robinson, some people already crediting his account to say you have seen it all, and you just get the book and sign. The one in Ekiti, done. The one in Ogun, done. The one in Oyo, done. Even in the rural area in Oyo, everything perfect. We heard of some projects here that have been paid for, but we are not done. Look at the roads. Between this place, Ibadan, to Abeokuta Road, look at that road. Ibadan, Abeokuta Road. It has been like that. How many years has it taken them to fix the Ogbomoso-Ilorin Road? The federal road in Ogbomoso, you know how many years? That road has been allocated ever since I know 1999. Until date, they are still doing it. And we know we've missed count in the number of deaths that have recorded on that road. Just imagine. And nobody bothered because we're talking about money. We're talking about people's leaders not being cognizant of their followers. So that is it. It is big allocation, small impact. Look, go to Zomone. Why are we having people trooping into this capital? Because nothing is happening in the rural areas. If there are projects there, if there are development there, if there are industry there, they want to stay back. In fact, when I was in school, I passed through the project in Ibadan. I was at a rural to my ND, and if that place has been very well put in place, you have industry there. In our own days there, nobody will want to come down. Even you will not want to come to the capital because of the noise, But that place, you see companies that you can feed yourself with. You see industry that you can train yourself. If there are recycling industry, there are building, there are construction industry, there are production industries. And they are getting paid very well, and the roads are fine. Farming products will be done very well. People will want to go to farming. People want to go to agro-like and then get it down to the capital and then get. But this is not Ibadan to a rural road. Is yet to be fixed, and the governor time is just rounding up very shortly. How do you go about that?
I mean, there's so much to talk about.
My brother,
but let's move on to politics briefly. There seems to be, after that court proceedings, that that convention in Ibadan was nullified. There seems to be a move again from Wike camp saying that we have fixed March 28th for the PDP convention. So let's look at the projection of things. What do you think is going to happen? Tanimu Turaki, the faction of Tanimu Turaki, the faction of the governor for your state, are also on the one hand, and Wike's faction also on the other hand. What do you make of this convention? Do you think some people from Tanimu Turaki are going to defect now properly into the proper structure according to the courts?
The fact that APC is ruling now, one of their core major duty is to kill the standing oppositional party, PDP. We've said that here, we've analyzed it here, that the only way they can get stronger is to kill the PDP they met on board. So that some of their members will find their own umbrella or their broom an alternative and stronger for them to work with. And that is what they are doing. The weakest camp will continue to be funded. If Wike is not getting funded for what he's doing, you will have collapsed now. Somebody is behind it. Somebody is behind Wike. Somebody is paying the bills. If not, he will not be the minister and still want to be the number one citizen in his own state as the APC person and still want to be the controlling general in the PDP.
But who do you think is bankrolling Wike?
Who is bankrolling Wike? Do we need to go and search Google for that? The presidency.
The presidency is involved in the affairs of the
that
PDP.
is not new to us. It's politics. At the end of the day, you will see them again attending programs together, events like weddings. They will be there. The last time we had during our Thanksgiving period in Oyo State 50th anniversary, Obi was here.
Okay, but let's talk about this. So even if Wike, if you have alleged that, oh yeah, Wike is doing anti-party activities and all that, but Wike is now saying let's have a convention. Is that not a way forward for the PDP?
For which PDP? The one that is in, or the one that is working to kill? Wike is just like a PDAPC. We know that, and then that is what he's doing. He continues putting up that kind of confusion so that the party will not have stability, and that is why you are seeing many people that, like the governor of Osun State, easily decamping to accord for his own political ambition. If he has weight on PDP, the court judgment that just came out now will nullify him from contesting. Already, he will be out of the game. So that was why we said that time that Adeleke has taken the best decision and he has found a best place to go. So, but for Wike, if he has not been bankrolled by somebody more powerful than many people in the party that is already causing confusion he will have stepped back or get dead by now. So he's getting more fund. The last time he announced caretaker committee in all the states, including Oyo State. And some people were saying that they want to see those caretaker committee at the secretariat. The secretariat has been commissioned, is going to be commissioned. It's not yesterday or today. So we are waiting for the show. It's just that it's a pity that we are doing this, and people find it very difficult to harness with their party ideology and work towards it. It is not bad that you have an opposition. It is also not bad that you see us. If you lose a party, you lose in your own party. It would be good that you stay back. Look at the United States of America when the Republican failed, to win the election. They remained, and the Democrats came on board. We saw them. We hardly see all this shifting on ground. This decamping, this cross-carpeting that we call it here in Nigeria is so bad that it cannot be taught in the Nigerian institution for anybody studying politics, political science, or any other courses that relate to how to get to lead the people in the democratic setting. This is not the best way.
All right, let's talk about the federal government, especially the power sector as well. That's very important to everybody. We've been talking about this. An average economy, an average industry depend on that for sustenance. So even small, medium enterprises, large-scale enterprises, everybody requires power. So now this is the case. Federal government is moving to share electricity subsidy and the cost of electricity subsidy with states. That seems like some have said, oh, well, this should have been the case. Others have said, oh, yes, I think the development should have been that states should generate their power. They should get that autonomy. Of course, they do have it, but they should now start implementing those autonomy to ensure that they generate power. But this is what Adelabo is saying, that, yeah, we want to share the subsidy cost with every state. Some states are still struggling to pay 70,000. Some states are still struggling with personal and some of their internal crises and all that. But it seems like the way to go for them. States like, for example, Niger State has the largest landmass in the country, Nigeria. So maybe they are going to pay more if you have to consider how much would. But let's see as it goes. But what do you make of all of this?
Well, it's good that the man saying it is also coming up to contest for the governor of the state. It's good as he's saying all this, as it's going to be a record. But the truth of the matter is that sharing this will have been good if it's going to be implemented down the line. Just don't forget our president announced some time ago about local government autonomy, and it's about 2 years now. Nothing has been done. We are waiting. If they take over this responsibility, it may reduce. Please underline. It may reduce the burden on an ordinary person, ordinary Nigerians. We expect that by now, Nigeria at 66 should have been at a point where the rural areas, every place will be powered. There won't be an option for anybody looking for extra things, depending on the capital city to come and generate power also. And then we've also support the idea of state generating their own power in order to reduce the burden over the federal generation. As that, we also help the state to grow further. Now we have alternative for power supply. Solar is there. Let states who are very close to the sun, who can generate more from wind, who can generate more from water, do that in order to reduce these powers. We don't have, there is no excuse for us to be suffering from power supply. There is no excuse whatsoever. But we are doing this because of the political willpower that we don't have. You know, if we have gotten that willingness to do all this, it will have reduced our burden by now. When you listen to the Minister of Power, you listen to what he's saying, you shake your head and ask yourself, is this man reading out a script, or is he saying it out of ideology, out of people's his committee, agreement to say, okay, let's just face the press, let's say something that will interest the world, let's throw down another bomb, let people go and be rolling about it. That is just my own concern. That's the way I see it. But if it has been a way to put things together, this is 2026. Next year is the election. 2026 is telling us that this year we'll be going through a lot of political jamborees here and there. And you want to be telling me at this time that you want to share the burden of this particular power burden on states that are yet to pay salaries, that are struggling, even when we know that they put more concern in their own pocket than the citizen. Imagine a state declaring lesser for health, more for their legislative house. You can understand how this thing works. So if you put that burden on such a state now, you want that state to be able to pay on time? I don't get it. But the independence of every state generating their own power to cater for their citizens, it's better. And the people getting to see the benefit, because it's not just saying it, it's not just talking about it, it's about doing it. And that is where we find our problem.
Mr. Falabi, let's see it also from this angle. Yes, maybe it would say, and he has said countless times, that the federal government is finding it difficult to manage all of the intricacies in the sector, right? And some have said, let's give the benefit of the doubt to say, how about we share it across board so that everybody... So I think there's also an ideology that whatever you are called to also become a part of, you are more interested in it, you are committed to that, and then you do a lot of things to ensure that thing works.
Hopefully.
Maybe that's why the electricity power or power sectors generally is not working. Maybe if every state now has a stake in it to say, we are paying this amount of money, one, there will be accountability to say, we are questioning
proper
how much we paid for this, and you are not doing what you do. Maybe that's the angle that the power minister is coming from.
Well, if that is the angle, it should be good. My own is, okay, let's take, for example, the rural people in your state has been out of power for a long year, for many years. When I was studying there was no power at all.
In certain parts, or
no, the entire rural Lalate, no light, no power. After I've left, they get some power. They said some people came to, take away cut away their supply from the board, from where it was connected to that local government. And I expect that by now they should have gotten stable power supply, even when we have our speaker from that place. Even if they have to get stable power supply, the road determines, because somebody must be monitoring, ambush, because those light passes through the bush, and it's also called that they are being open so that you know who is climbing. But I ask myself many times that another man will not climb the power grid or the pole without knowing about it. It's just like somebody like me accusing me of cutting the wire, where I was never an electrician, I don't have the tools. And that is just it. But by and large, if you want to put the state into it, to say they should be part and parcel of it, it is the willpower that will determine all this. The political willpower, the ability to be able to do what is right. But as you see right now, every one of them is focusing on 2027. That is my fear. If at the time the president come on board, he pronounced this, he asked us that he put this forward, that this is part of what we are going to do to have a stable power supply in Nigeria. State will be included. While state is included, the local government will also be included, because you cannot talk about state without talking about the local government. And as that is done, then we can talk about everybody is involved. When we distribute the power, they will check it up. When the cost is this, we all share it so that we can reduce the burden on ordinary citizens. Every person needs power. Even the woman, the old mom at home need power. Every grandman now has a phone and want to communicate to his or her daughter wherever they are. So you telling me that some people don't deserve it or don't really need it is out of understanding of what power supply really means to people. It's not just to give us light. It goes beyond that. It helps our businesses. It is life.
Mr. Falabi, let's get on another issue that is of interest. I'll be running for president in 2027. I didn't say that anyway.
Okay.
It was Peter Obi that said
I want to clap my hand for you because actually every person is entitled to.
Of course, constitutionally, right? So Peter Obi came out to say he's not voicing anybody, if so to say, that he wants to become president. Do you think this is a crave or a craving for power beyond the craving for leadership?
My brother, I don't see that because he was here at the Thanksgiving ceremony for Oyo at 50. And he put on the Oyo Ankara, and everybody was asking, is Sheyi now going for ADC? But the truth of the matter is that, like I said to you now, everybody is entitled to it. If he has declared by now that he will be contesting, no problem. But the truth of the matter is, what are the policies you are bringing on board? What are the change that you want to make? What are the things that you want to correct? How do we feel your present if you become the president?
I get the point. Sorry to cut you 1 second. I get the point of, having policies and all of these things that you've said. But what's bad in becoming a vice president?
What's bad? We are in Nigeria, in the case of Nigeria, you become a vice president, you are just like a reserve, a spare tire. That's how they make them. We see the likes of Ochibajo. Before Ochibajo came on board, a lot was said about when he come on board, he will do this, he will do that. We saw the likes of Shetima. Have you heard about Shetima of recent?
But they've been representing the president in different places.
As representative and reporting
giving policies
and reporting to the presidency.
But they have their function as well.
My brother, it doesn't. You see, you don't. We also can gather the experience of deputy state governors, where we have many of them not been able to implement their own personal policies, what they intend to put on board. This man will submit his idea to the president. This man will be checked by the president and his presidency's kind of aides. Like I will say, God is not ready to attend to you right now. He's busy, he's memorizing, he's this and that. But if he has to be his person, he will be able to put what he has been planning for years down, collecting what he has wanted to do per state, per local government, per ministry, per agencies, and then implement it. An example of the United States of America, see what Donald Trump is doing, see how he's been coming up on every time to talk, and this man such that he also handle his own social, he's also in charge of his social handles, and he posts at will, he posts at time, and these are what makes many people to feel very, very reluctant to come up and say, I want to be the vice president. I want to say, if it is to Obi, I will not support him coming back as a vice president, but as a president, yes, I personally will not support him to be a vice president. At this age, let us also have a change of things. Policies is our problem, and implementation. We don't have problem with that our weather. We have God that so blessed Nigeria that what you get here, you don't get it anywhere else. But we have a very bad kind of leadership that throws us left, right, and center without direction. Okay,
in 30 seconds, let's quickly travel to Onitsha. This case of Soludo, the traders sit at home order, there's been that conversation back and forth. But it seems like a good one for Soludo as the shops in the Onitsha market, as traders sit at home. Some have said we are shunning, others are saying no, we'll still continue to speak for Nnamdi Kanu. So speak on this in 30 seconds.
I want to beg the people who are supporting sit at home to please have a rethink. A lot has been damaged for that sit at home. The sit at home has killed businesses, and is also grounding the social activities of that state. You want to travel to Onitsha, you think of, Monday they don't go to the market. And it's costing them a lot. They are losing a lot. I think it is high time somebody stop this kind of move. Stop. You are taking order from somebody that is in prison, or you are taking order from somebody that is not your leader. The governor is talking about, let's go forward. Please, I want to beg. Our mindset is one of our problems. Until we are able to change our mindset, we may not be able to make a change at all for our country.
A very big thank you to you, Afolabi Afolami, for joining us this morning.
I'm happy to be here all the time.
And of course, we now switch focus to power play with Samson Balogun. Of course, what do we have to say? But there's more to talk about the presidential bid of, Peter Obi, and that is to come after this break. Join us again.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
This morning on The Big Story, we turn our attention to a political declaration that is already reshaping conversations across Nigeria's opposition space. Our focus is on Peter Obi's clear signal ahead of the 2027 election, a firm rejection of a vice presidential role, and a renewed pursuit of the nation's highest office. But beyond the ambition lies a deeper question about political platforms, alliances, and the stability of parties navigating the pressure of high-profile interests. So, today's big story, 2027 power play, Peter Obi's presidential bid, and the looming crisis within the ADC. In Nigerian politics, every declaration carries weight, and every ambition sends a message, not just to voters, but to political structures and party leaderships across the country watching closely. Peter Obi's latest move places renewed focus on the African Democratic Congress, ADC, a party increasingly mentioned in coalition talks and opposition realignment. With rising attention comes rising expectations and potentially rising internal tension. Can the ADC successfully balance competing ambitions and remain a cohesive platform for broader political cooperation? Or does this moment mark the beginning of internal fractures driven by leadership contests, ideological differences, and the struggle for political control? These are not just questions for party insiders. They are questions for Nigerian electorate. whose choices in 2027 will be shaped by how parties organize, unite, and present credible alternatives. To explore these issues, I am joined by Honorable Mola Jaolawi. He's an APC chieftain, and as we examine what this evolving political landscape could mean for party stability, coalition politics, and Nigeria's democratic journey. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning, Honorable Mola Jaolawi. Good to have you again.
Thank you for having me, Samson. I'm very grateful for you, to you for having me here today. And for people who are watching us at home, I say good morning to you.
All right. Peter Obi made a statement yesterday, and he was clear about his ambition. And if you check the ADC as we speak, there are quite a number of people who would love to contest for the biggest office in Nigeria, which is the presidency. Rotimi Amechi made his intentions known a long time ago. Atibuku Abubakar has been there before now. And you also have Peter Obi, who joined the party not too long ago. And he has been clear, I'm not going to be vice president for anyone. So what does that say? Is there a realignment about to take place within the ADC and some other political parties in Nigeria as we speak?
For now, I don't think so.
Will this cause a tremor in all other political parties?
Seriously, I mean, the political party, other political party, the way I know, is not that they are going to have a kind of formation with ADC. All of them have stood on their own. They are just looking for a way that when there is going to be fracas or going to be disagreement or crisis between other political party, like we are talking about PDP, we are talking about likely APC or ADC as we talk, who is being bewildered with a lot of different problems, crises at this moment. So I think the other political party are looking for a way whereby others can be able to join them. So it is not that other political parties are going to be join ADC for now. But with the ambition of those who are the real titan in ADC, how they are going to be able to trust themselves. That is what is what is going to what you are going to be looking at, and how they are going to survive this fight in uncontrollable ambition. You talk about ideology. I don't think a lot of in ADC. I don't think they have that kind of ideology. All they have is ambition. Okay. And ambition can be very dangerous when it's not all going to be curtailed.
When talking about coalition, people often mention the ADC even before the PDP at this time. So what's the secret? What does the ADC currently have that other parties do not have that makes them to look like the rallying point for coalition in Nigeria?
I think first the alphabetical order that ADC's place is one of the first thing. Like we knew what these the people that came to ADC right now say, because they really want to be the first on the ballot, so they can be able to know how they are going to convince people. They don't want to be the last. They don't want to be on the 4th or 5th or even about 20 or 30. They believe people are not going to be able to look beyond those. They believe people are just going to look at the top and when they see ADC. And ADC from time where it has been like we had that it was established by Obasanjo. Now won't give it a kind of leverage as well. So for now, I think because it's going to be probably the first in the ballot.
So how would you rate the current ADC internal structure and its ability to accommodate high-profile decampees while maintaining party discipline and the structure itself?
The problem with the structure is that those people who are there are always looking for where they are going to be able to arrange themselves. So those who are there, they don't want to leave. They can see. For me, it's a cheat as well for somebody just to keep because they have that inordinate ambition to hijack the structure from those people who are there. They ought to have negotiated with them. They ought to have know how they are going to set a kind of convention, if it's going to be mini convention, because it's been stipulated in the Constitution of Nigeria. It is not only the main convention you can have. You can have any mini convention at any point in time, probably 2 years, probably it might be 2 years, you might reduce it to a year if you like, but they don't do this. It was just about resignation and putting some people in different political office, in those office being held by former ADC. I think that is why they are fighting. I think it's unfair. I think it's unconstitutional what they did to those people who are on ground before they came.
Will there be long-term party unity, especially with the executives of the party who were there before the emergence of Rauf Aregbesola, Senator David Mark, and so many other people who came to take over the party? There were issues of hijack. Some made claims that the party was hijacked from them. Now, will we have a repeat, or maybe a court case that will be resurrected, if I may use that word, in the long run, that might cause disunity within the ADC?
And there's so many court cases.
Just like what we saw yesterday, a new court ruling on the PDP giving power to the Wike-led PDP and saying, look, we want to have our own Congress, and that will happen in Abuja. So are we likely to see such thing happening in the ADC?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the power of justice is always swing, and it can swing to the right and swing to the left at any point in time. That is one thing about when you are talking about the judiciary. And these people have legitimate right, whether you like it or not, to be able to take them to court in order to be able to reclaim their mandate. Because it is supposed to be, they're supposed to go to the field. These are the people that are campaigning for democracy, and I don't think they have shown people intention that they are soon authoritarian system.
But they were members of your political party before now.
It is not.
So what's the difference now?
The difference now is that when APC is being formed, it went through normal processing. It was not hijacked from anybody. There are crises on the way, but they really sat down to know how they are going to resolve it. But this time around, we have heard that even the ADP they are talking about is being considered for registration. They don't want to wait. APC wait for probably about 2 years before it can be formed and before it can be registered. We all knew what happened. These are a coalition of people who came together, just went to hijack a political party. And it is not done. It is not right. They might win at the end of the day. But those people who are the executive before have the right to challenge it in the law court. So they knew that if it doesn't swing to their favor, they are still having that ADP pending they can be able to go to.
As it stands, with the current situation as of this morning, is the ADC the third or the second force in Nigeria?
I think for now, they are the second force right now. Because despite the fact that they don't have so many members, and they don't have elected representative that much, probably some few of them who have left Labour Party to join them. We have not seen anybody from the ruling party joining ADC right now, being disgruntled and joining ADC. We don't know tomorrow, but for now, we have not seen that. And we have seen probably 1 or 2 PDP members who has joined them as well. So for that, they are still the second largest party in Nigeria. But they have not been doing their work the way they're supposed to do, because they have been bewildered with different internal crises and pending court cases. Probably that is what is challenging them not to know what they are saying. Some of their members who have spilled different things are saying what is not logical. You can imagine Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola saying that governor of the state is not a yardstick to win an election. I think it's a joke. Because the governor of the state has a kind of negotiating power.
He only has 1 vote.
It is not about what he has a negotiating power.
Don't you consider Rauf Aregbesola to be right?
How does he right?
The governor cannot openly.
It is not about being openly. It's about because he has a lot of
He cannot force anyone to cast their vote for another political party.
People cannot be forced.
But he can vote on his own.
People cannot be forced, but still people can be convinced. That is what is happening. We have lost election. We have lost election as a APC member in Oyo State, despite that we are ruling. But a governor of the state has a lot of influence, a dynamic influence. It's about people want hope, and a governor of the state can give people hope, unlike those who are coming that you don't even know what they are going to do. So governors of the state has a lot of influence when you are talking about election, and a lot of them uses it as well.
So some people believe Peter Obi's announcement yesterday, his declaration was to keep his obedient movement in check, in line. so that going into the next election, he knows that the still has a number of them right behind him. But some are saying this is just a way to keep them in line because he knows that he might likely not get the ticket in the ADC. But as it stands, do you think Peter Obi stands a chance of getting the presidential ticket in the ADC? And the ADC has been a little bit silent about if they are zoning, if there was going to be a primary election. There's been a little bit of silence. Do you think that might just be a ticking time bomb?
It's a ticking time bomb. Let me tell you, I must be sincere with you because with the formation of these people that came together, it is not about trust. It's about ambition. And when you have that kind of inordinate ambition, you can do anything you want at any point in time. You can withdraw at any point in time. So they are just being bounded together by ambition. It is not by ideology. Now, we have seen Kwankwaso being waiting behind the scene. He has not joined APC, he has not joined ADC, and he has made his intention to be known to the people that he's been given a vice president ticket or a presidential ticket.
Would that happen in the APC for Kwankwaso?
No, that is past already. Him being given that chance is past because he doesn't have what it takes to get about 20% stake in APC and being given a vice presidential ticket and being promised 2031 presidential ticket. That is not going to be happening. He can be able to negotiate that whenever he wants, but he's not going to have that free meal. He has he doesn't have that power. But when you are talking about Obi can still have an alliance with Kwankwaso. He has the best chance to have an alliance with Kwankwaso, and I think he has kept that door open at any point in time because we still have time. APC is going to do his own convention. When we do that convention, there are going to be some disagreement. People that want to stay will stay. People that want to leave are going to leave. Let's be certain about that. And we have seen that the remnant of PDP probably are going to join the ship. If Wike is going to be able to have his way, they are going to jump the ship. And when they jump the ship, they are going to go somewhere. And that option is still left open. They might not go to ADC. They might go to any other party that they can be able to have those influence. So with Kwankwaso, with Obi, and all those remaining governors, there can be any surprises at any point in time.
So with Kwankwaso and Peter Obi in the same political party, Peter Obi as the presidential candidate, Kwankwaso as the vice presidential candidate, will they be a threat to the APC?
They can be a threat to any political party. That is an assurance.
How much of an influence does Kwankwaso have in the Northwest?
In the Northwest, I don't think he has that much. The last election have shown that how many NDC seats does he have? He's even having that problem within the party.
He won in Kano with Abba Yusuf.
There's nothing wrong with that. You cannot take it all. One political party is not going to take every part of Nigeria, every nuclear criminal of Nigeria. It's not that. It's not good. That is not democracy. That is autocracy. But a situation we are going to have whereby the people of Nigeria are going to have the right to choose wherever they want to go at any point in time. If they are being bullied or if they are being lord upon by a political party, that is what we need. It is not when we have a single political party controlling all the stake in Nigeria. So we must be able to give democracy a chance. But a lot of people in Nigeria are not having that ideology. They just have ambition just to get into power at a point in time.
Some people have preached Peter Obi to be the best of all. They have preached to him to be the candidates that everyone should be looking out for. But as it stands, where do you place Peter Obi as a candidate in the presidential elections?
The beautiful thing about politics is that any secret you have is going to come out, whether you like it or not. Peter Obi's weakness has been advocated so many times, and he has even golfed so many times. He has said things, he just lie all the time.
So he made a statement that old politicians are the issues with Nigeria. That Nigeria is not poor. It's the issue about the old politicians. Is he right? That
is part of the senseless thing we can be able to hear. Because how can you say old politicians are not good for Nigeria? Where do you see new politicians every time? We are talking about developed world as well. A lot of them are old politicians who have even governed to, I mean, righteously. We are talking about even, let's give an example of the United States of America. Trump is an old politician, but his ideology is different because he just lies to the people all the time. We have seen the crisis that is happening in the world and happening in the United States because people gullibly follow in to what a kind of dream they cannot never have. When you are talking about politics, politicians are realists. They talk the truth to power. They don't need to sell things that is not going to happen to you. So when we are talking about Peter Obi have gone off so many times and is still lying to Nigeria. But with what he has as his baggages, it's only obedience that are going to be able to accept him. Any other person are not going to accept with what Obi has done as Anambra State Governor.
What did he do as Anambra State Governor?
We have seen a lot of where he has invested in Anambra money in his own particular bank. We have seen how he uses Anambra money to invest in his company. We have seen so many things.
That was an investment. An honest investment.
Investment. Probably you as a journalist have not read.
Which made money for Anambra State Government.
It is clash of interest.
He left money in the coffers of the state.
It is not about you living, it is about your impact on the people. He was the one that gave back to school to the missionaries. That is irresponsible. He is not responsible. You must be able to be responsive and responsible when you are talking about. He has been talking about other geopolitical zone when there is crisis. He has never talked about where he comes from and the allegation of killing that happened in Anambra State when he was the governor. When they see so many dead on the river, in the river, he has not done that. Peter Obi can be able to criticize people, and he has never defended himself when he has done what is wrong. When you become a governor supposed to resign if he's a chairman of the company, he's supposed to resign. Because whatever you do to your company is going to be class of interest. It's illegal. It's criminal. What Obi did in Anambra with Anambra money is criminal. It should be penalized. But because we are not having that fortified judicial system, that is why it's going to be, he was able to get away with it.
But all of this you have said, he was never found guilty of any of it.
No, because then it was the PDP government who are ready to protect him and are good when it's come to corruption. That is why Obi is able to go scot-free. He should be able to pronounce. He should be in jail right now. Nobody knows that in the constitution of Nigeria, you cannot collect from the central or from the state because the money that goes to the state comes from the central. If you are a retiree and you are an elected member, whether councillor, whether chairman, whether house of rep, whether governor, whatever you are, you cannot collect your salary. What Saraki did, he should have been put in jail. You must leave one for the other. You cannot collect both at the same time. Thank God we have democracy and we are practicing it. And there are the challenges and ignorance some people add the way they are doing things are being exposed right now.
ADC is being considered as a credible alternative by some people. If the ADC is to build a coalition around Peter Obi, so how much of a threat will that be for the sitting government?
So we may have said that intellectually Obi is lazy, that he doesn't have what it takes.
But he reels out statistics about China, about Taiwan, Vietnam, and some other countries.
As he must have read. Did he practice it when he was in Anambra State as an Anambra State governor? A governor of Anambra State, as a governor, he didn't have local government election for all the 8 years he was being elected. And you are saying he's a Democrat.
What if there were court cases pending?
It is not about court cases pending. Court cases are going to be stopped whether you like it or not. It is only Obi that did that throughout Nigeria. No governor has ever done that. The worst would have has never done that. He conducted local government election. Despite the fact that for so long he didn't conduct it. He still conducted local government election. Now, Obi should be able to raise it for challenge. Why do you think United States of America is being called the place of Democrat. Because right from the primary level, every member contributed to how a person is going to be elected, whether you are a governor, whether you are a president. Throughout those, and you are talking about a place that a population of almost 400 million people. That is US. And people, because we are talking about what life is all about. It's about data system. We have internet. Now, what APC is doing by membership drive registration, we are going to see what is going to happen in the nearest future, because this is the basis for us to be able to choose the whoever we want.
Lastly, before we go, does membership registration guarantee victory in the election, even with the numbers?
It helps. It helps a lot. That is why you have never seen in the history of the United States the way people voted during the time of Trump. Because people came out en masse. They registered for the political party they want, and when Democrats saw the way people are driving to register for Republican, they do their membership drive in a very unique way. People even voted early because they don't want to be caught out, and they don't want that rush to caught them unaware. So that is how democracy is supposed to be. It is not when some people have been guided, some people have been choosing without acceptance of others. I think it's wrong. I think that is not democracy. I think that is autocracy. I think it is more oligarchy as well.
Well, what will happen is that by the time the election comes near and the candidates finally emerge, we'll get to understand that. Thank you, Honorable Malaja Oloye, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, as the path to 2027 gradually unfolds, political ambition, party unity, and public expectations continue to intersect in the ways that will define the next chapter of Nigeria's democracy. Whether the ADC emerges as a unifying platform or a party tested by internal pressures, the decisions made today will echo far beyond the present political moment. Many thanks to my guest this morning, Honorable Malaja Oloye, APC Chieftain, for sharing his insight and perspectives on the important national conversations. And you have been watching The Big Story on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, Ibadan. Samson Balogun is my name. Stay informed, stay engaged. Up next is Trend Watch. All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. All right, it is time for Trend Watch on this show, but do not forget to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. Do not forget to like and subscribe to those channels, and definitely drop a comment. We'll take them on this show. You can also watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Now it is time for Trend Watch this morning, and Alulu Akpoido, who is back in the studio with me.
Yes, so good to be back again to talk about the trends, of course, today. Quite a number of things are trending.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes you get to say which one should have a precedence, but of course, we can just take a few of them. Of course, there's the story of caught off guard. Edo Senator Adams Oshiomhole seen giving foot massage to lady on private jets in viral video amid backlash for saying food is now too cheap. All of that, you know, there's been that conversation that the former governor and current senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was seen doing that. You know, while they keep telling Nigerians that they must pay tax, he's also enjoying his tax benefits.
Honestly, I don't think that should make the headline. It is just a misplacement of priority. Reportage should not be taken beyond the scope of what it is meant to be. Yes, you can find Samson Balogun somewhere, you know, doing the same thing. You can find Anolu Akpoido somewhere doing the same thing, and likewise every other person out there. Adams Oshiomhole is not an exception. First of all, before he became the governor, he is human. He's a human being. Definitely, he's still going to do some things. I mean, we should not say because someone now becomes a celebrity, a politician, a certain part of their life should be erased totally. I mean, he's definitely going to still do some of these things. And what gives you the assurance, because the report is not clear, what gives you the assurance that is not his wife?
Or his daughter.
Or his daughter. It could have been anyone. So if it was clear that, oh, it is someone else, then we might have this conversation. It might be lengthy a little bit. But then, if this happens to be his wife, I mean, nobody should put anyone's private life on a spotlight just because you want to get the best headline. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Regardless of the situation, Adams Oshiomhole is human too. He's from somewhere in Edo State. And definitely, he's bound to do things that an average human being will do, regardless of how much wealth he has amassed, regardless of where he comes from, regardless of what he has achieved in life, being a senator or even the president. They can be found doing some of these things. And that is why I say some of the times, I mean, not everywhere should you find a camera. Because eventually, the headline might not totally represent what exactly was happening.
You know, let me play the devil's advocate to say that for everybody that wants to become a leader, the position of leadership has so many responsibilities. They call it leadership responsibility. There are certain things that you used to do that you might not want to do again. It's not because they are bad. It's not because you cannot enjoy the benefits of doing some of those things. It's because you have become a public person. You become a public, you are serving a public office, and then everybody is having a take on you. So if you drink my coffee, for example, some would say that, why will a guest come to drink another person's coffee? So it becomes an issue because the guest is now the governor of the state. Right. And so there's questions about, there are questions, a number of them, about why are you doing something that, when you know that the public eye is on you, when you know that everybody is trying to spotlight you. But I think it's also cause for that because we've also seen in recent, I think this is not just about this story, this is about the lifestyle of our leaders in the country. Absolutely. We've seen, Dino Milai, I didn't want to mention, but permit me to mention Dino Milai showing fleets of vehicles.
That's the celebrity senator.
I mean, maybe that's exactly the way we should address him. You see, showing, sometimes you see them, it's okay to go to enjoy yourself in a lounge, a club or something, it's okay. But when you now parade those expensive champagnes are very, 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 way too much. It calls for accountability. It calls for the fact that, oh, you are a senator, you are a leader in Nigeria. Nigerians are going through a lot. It's not their problem that Nigerians are going through a lot sometimes, you know. It's just that some of them even made their money legitimately before becoming a public office holder in the country. So we cannot say that the way they spend their money it should be questioned. No. We are saying that sometimes the responsibility of a leader does not allow for every kind of thing. You know, I think that's another.
Well, you are not. I'm not saying you are not right for all of that. I just feel like, you know, we should cut some people a little bit of slack. You know, when you find them in certain situations, you get to understand the fact that above all, they are still humans. And we have to, just like you mentioned, we've seen some people who are meant to be role models and eventually they became the wrong set of role models you would expect your children to have, especially when questions are being raised about what exactly is happening in Nigeria as a country. You can imagine in a country where we speak highly of corruption, but nothing is really being done about nipping it in the bud. And then you find a public office holder, you know, with an expensive drink that could be worth maybe ₦1 million, ₦2 million at clubhouses, flaunting that. As someone with a vehicle worth about 230 to 250, 300 million, you know, I mean, about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. That raises questions about what exactly is happening in this country. Is it that about 245 million people will now, let me say 249 million people will work so hard, pay taxes, and then feed just about 1 million people? It's a very big question. So when questions like this are being raised, we have to be holistic about it. There has to be a holistic approach about how these things are being tackled. Are we holding our leaders responsible? I could remember, we have seen situations where senators had to be recalled. Eventually, what happened? Some people were, you know, probably meetings and hands exchanged, monies exchanged hands, and then nobody is really saying anything about it. Until we have someone truly recalled from that floor of the house back home and said, we don't want you again, we want someone else. I think that will set a precedence. That will be a very big example. I could remember the case of Senator Elisha Habo, who had an issue in the toy shop in Abuja with a lady, and then eventually they said, oh, he used to be recalled. Till today, was he recalled? It's a very big question. So it now borders on, as humans, as the Nigerian people, as constituents, as people in our different senatorial districts, are we really looking out for the best set of leaders? Because beyond executive arm of government, there are legislators, legislators who actually legislate on the rules and the constitutions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it will only be rules that favor them and their cronies that will always be passed. As long as it doesn't favor them, you will not find it anywhere. But then, if we put the right people at the right places, we'll realize the fact that eventually it will favor Nigerians. And then we'll be able to say, yes, this is the Nigeria of our dreams.
When you mentioned toys, I was expecting more explicit message on that. But
I just didn't want to be clear about it. Well, then, it's a convenient point to say it's a wrap on this show this morning. We say thank you for linking up with us. Thank you for making us your companion this morning. Do well to link up with us on all socials: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Dominion Broadcast, X, formerly Twitter, and Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. Drop comment, like, share, subscribe to our channels, and definitely there are a number of contents that will interest you on this dial. Until tomorrow, when we shall be meeting again on this show, same time, same station, same host, Samson Balogun is my name. But remember, Nigeria will only become better only if you become better as a person.
That's a very strong word. I mean, for everybody. Of course, remember that you can call your leaders to accountability, and it's your job to also be responsible as a Nigerian. Of course, my name is Anolo Agboido. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day.